Today is our first lesson utilizing our flipped classroom model. So, what I am expecting of you to complete for homework is the notes, which you will get through watching a video and complete it on the packet that's available on Google Classroom. And you're going to take the notes utilizing Kami. I do expect at times during the video that you pause and actually try to figure it out yourselves and then come back. Any questions can then be asked during class the following day, during which time we will complete what has been traditionally your homework, which is the problems out of the packet or out of the textbook. So again, if you ever have any questions, please bring them to class, or you are always welcome to email me. So today we're starting with Chapter 1, Section 1, where it says algebra is the process of using properties of numbers to manipulate unknown or changing quantities. These quantities are known as variables and are often represented using letters to distinguish them from numbers we do know. When we group numbers together, we get what is known as an expression. Review order of operations by giving the value of each of the following purely numerical expressions. Do these without a calculator. So I want to remind you that your order of operations, many of us remember as PEMDAS. The P is really for parentheses. E is for exponent. Parentheses aren't really an operation as more a signal of do this part first. Multiplication and division we do in order from left to right. Add and subtract we do in order from left to right. So here's one of those places where I'd like you to pause, try to do the calculations, and then come back and watch me do them. So letter A, following order of operations, first thing I see is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, and then add 6 and 7, which is 13. Here, again, I'm going through my order of operations. I don't see any parentheses or exponents. I see a multiplication here and a division here. So I multiply and divide in order from left to right. So this becomes 8 minus half of 6 is 3, plus 24 divided by 6 is 4. I then add and subtract in order from left to right. 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. On letter C, I see parentheses. So I'm going to do 8 minus 6 first. So that becomes 4 times 2. The parentheses, when complete, become a multiplication. Minus 7. And then 5 times 3 is also 2. And now multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 7 times 2 is 14. 8 minus 14 is negative 6. Letter D, here when we have this fraction bar, that's a division sign, but that also kind of says to do everything that's on top in the numerator and then everything in the denominator. So we kind of treat that like there's parentheses there that aren't there. So first I'm going to do 5 squared, which is 25, minus 4 squared, which is 16, plus 3 over 1 minus 5. Now I'm going to do all adding and subtracting in order from left to right in the numerator. So 25 minus 16 is 9, plus 3, over 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So that's 12 over negative 4, which is negative 3. Because again, a fraction bar is really just division. Letter E, we have parentheses here, so I do those first. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. And that's times 5 minus 3, which is 2, plus 3 squared. Negative 5, actually exponents should come next, so this is negative 5 times 2, plus 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is 9. So that's negative 10 plus 9, which is negative 1. Last but not least, here we have a compound fraction. So again, we treat everything in the numerator first. And really that negative 16 over 2 is really just division. And we divide and multiply in order from left to right. Negative 16 over 2 is negative 8. Plus 5 times 2 is 10. Over 2 cubed. So that's negative 8 plus 10. 2 cubed is 8. I should have done that first, but here in this case, it really doesn't matter because we're treating the numerator and denominator separately. Negative 8 plus 10 is 2 over 8, and we simplify that fraction to be 1/4. Example 2, here we're asked to write an expression. Remember, an expression does not have an equal sign. Evaluate the expression and include units. Person driving along the road moves at a rate of 56 miles per hour. Driven, how far does a person drive in 1.5 hours? So we're going to do 56 miles per hour multiplied by 1.5 hours. And we do that multiplication. And here it's okay if you use your calculator. So I'm going to do 56 times 1.5. And since this is miles per hour, another way you can write that is doing miles over hours, and then our hours divide out. So we really just get miles when we're done. So 56 times 1.5 gives me 84 miles. Mr. Wilson has 32 students in class. He wishes to place them in 8 groups of equal size. So here, if we want to group, grouping is done by division. So we're going to do 32 students divided by 8 groups. And then you divide that and you get 4 students in 1 group. Knowing your order of operations is absolutely essential. Once we move past expressions that contain only numbers, contain variables, you'll need to read the expression and understand what's being asked. Exercise 2. If the letter X represents some unknown quantity, explain the calculation for each of the following expressions below. So we're really just writing this in words. So it's 3x minus 8, so that means 3 times some number, x, subtract 8. Letter B, we're going to subtract 4 from x, then divide the quantity by 2. And it's important that we say then divide the quantity by 2 because that kind of tells us that we're going to write it that way or put the x minus 4 in parentheses. Letter C is multiply 4 by x squared and subtract 8. Here we didn't need to say the quantity because we're just going to follow the order of operations. Exercise 3. For each given expression, explain in steps what calculation is doing and then find its value for the given variable's values. Evaluate 4x minus 7 when x equals 5. First explain what calculations are occurring in the expression, then find its value. So we're going to do 4 times x and subtract 7. So we're going to do that. We're going to do 4 times 5 minus 7. So 4 times 5 is 20, minus 7 gives us 13. So then here we're going to evaluate the expression 8 minus 2x squared when x equals negative 3. So we're going to do 8 minus 2 times negative 3 squared. So here what we did is we substituted, and it's important that you put it in parentheses because negative 3 squared not in parentheses is different than negative 3 in parentheses squared. So negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. So we squared negative 3. So that was negative 3 times negative 3. Now we're going to multiply 8 2 times 9, which is 18. So we multiply 2 times 9, and then we subtract and we get negative 10. Letter C here is 2 parentheses x plus 8 over 3 plus 1 when x equals negative 2. So again, we're going to first substitute negative 2 in for x, and then we're going to follow our order of operations. So our order of operations is to do what's in parentheses first here, which is addition. So negative 2 plus 6, or plus 8 is 6 over 3 plus 1. Then again, we're going to multiply in the numerator there. 2 times 6 is 12 over 3 plus 1. 12 over 3 is 4. We do that division plus 1, and our answer is 5. Last, what is the value of this expression? So again, we're going to start by substituting. So it's 1/2 times 4 squared minus 2 times 4 minus 3. Order of operations sets the square first. So 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16, minus 2 times 4 minus 3. Now we can do multiplication and division. So half of 16 is 8, minus 2 times 4 is 8, minus 3. Then we add and subtract in order from left to right. We get negative 3. So that is where our notes for today stop. Tomorrow during class, you'll each work on the additional practice and ask me questions as needed.